Good morning. Happy Monday. Get myself live on Instagram and hopefully not unplug my computer as I'm mobilizing my leg that doesn't want to work with me right now. Ooh. All right, I'm live. Happy Monday. I hope everybody had an amazing 4th of July weekend. I had such a good time. I don't know if anybody can resonate with how fun it is to reminisce with family about, especially siblings, about things that happened like growing up as kids, and maybe learn things about your siblings that you didn't know. Oh, I was doing this and you would have never even known it. And that was me with my little brother this weekend. And it was just so fun to just be able to be there, be with my family, be present, and have a good time. And I do hope that you guys were all super present with your family. And today's topic is I really want to talk a lot about body image. And particularly, I want to talk about, I put the title out as Stop Chasing the Scale. And it's hard because I know that you have goals to improve your body composition, or you're somebody that cares about your body and you want to be able to maintain it. And this this episode isn't just about chasing the scale. It's really getting you guys to understand the deeper, I want to say, motivating factors behind changing your body, getting leaner, and when it's good and healthy to want to improve yourself. And when that can actually be something that maybe we're setting unrealistic expectations based on what you actually care about in life and also what you can actually commit to. Hi, Jack. Are you coming to say hello to everybody that's watching on camera? My cat was also not happy that he did not get to come with me this weekend. So he's going to come over here and say hello to you guys too. And that's really, so going back to the topic episode, or the episode topic, it's really on my heart right now to talk about this because if I'm being fully transparent, I know that women come to me because I am really good at body composition transformations, especially for women that are in that 30 to 40 to 50 plus club and you're doing high intensity training and you've got a full-time job and you've got all this stuff going on and you want to have the body transformation that you know you are capable of. But a lot of women come to me with so much diet baggage and a negative relationship with themselves. And I do really work on improving that. And I want you guys to see things a little bit differently. If you are not in my program and if you want to get into my program, please do not hesitate to reach out to me and you can learn a little bit more about what I do because I do talk about a lot of this stuff with my clients. In fact, I'm actually starting another weekly group call with my clients specifically geared towards body image and relationship with food and stuff like that, because it's a very slippery slope. When you are trying to be intentional with changing your body, there are some unintuitive things that you do. Technically, underfeeding yourself is not a good thing to do long term, just like overfeeding yourself isn't a good thing to do long term. We have to do things temporarily to get us back to homeostasis, but the goal is to get there and live there. And that's why I put the title as Stop Chasing the Scale, because I want you guys to realize that it's about getting to a place where you have full confidence in your body, you know how to maintain things, and you don't have to micromanage your food, your training, and all that kinds of stuff. So I do have some notes on my phone, and I'm going to be honest, I have been so in a different place. I have not been on my computer, and this is my first time opening my computer since Friday, and that's not like me at all, because I recognize, not just with my body, but because we're going to talk about body image in general, because if it's not body image, it's something else. We all gravitate. If you're that kind of a person, you will always gravitate towards finding something to be good at. And I am a productive person by nature, and I love that about myself. It's what's made me as successful as I am. But I chose to unplug a little bit this weekend. So my notes are actually on my phone because I was able to do that on my walk today. And this is just a combination of actually my thoughts. I even wrote them down on paper. So if you're looking around my board here, literally as I was knowing that I wanted to talk about this topic today, what was really coming up for me that I wanted to share with you guys. And one of the first things I wrote is, I hate that women only commit to change how they look. This is something that is really, it's point number one for me. Okay. So yes, I think most transformations do start with, you get to a place where you're like, all right, this is just not who I am. Like I was not this person 20 years ago, or I've been this way my entire life, and I just really want to see what's possible. Like, I want to be more confident in myself. And I know that there's some things that I could change that will get me there. But it's usually going to start with either you step on the scale, or you see a photo of yourself, or you have to go buy new clothes, or you just wake up one morning, you're like, I don't even recognize myself anymore. And it's a slippery slope because you don't even realize you're getting there. It's almost like it's almost like you start off with this clear glass, and the glass is so clear you can see everything. And or like a window, the window's clean, and a window's a great analogy. And that's like you at your best. You're like, the window's clean, everything's fresh. And then over time, like, dirt spatters on there, and some, foggy, that grimy stuff. And you're getting like the cobwebs. And then before you know it, like, it's really, really dirty. And you're like, oh my God, how did that window get like that? And then it's like, you want to clean it, right? And like, depending on how long it went, it's going to take a little bit more TLC, right? So it's like, if you've been that way for 20 years and it's all piled up, you got a lot of stuff to unpack, right? So, but women so focus on, like, I've got to get this weight off right now. I've got to change my body right now for this season. And it's why you can commit to getting to a place for 3 months. You feel productive, but at the end of the day, everybody sees you for a couple of weeks looking your best, only to see you unravel and be back where you were from the start. Is that what you want to keep living in? And that's why, like, there has got to be a deeper reason for change than just, I don't want to be uncomfortable with how I look and I want to see what's possible. Because when it comes to maintenance, it's pretty like nothing exciting, right? It's just like you're just living your life. So it has to come from something a lot deeper. What if the changes that you need to make are actually because they're going to make you a healthier person, right? Like, it's going to make you healthier to do this. And that's honestly one of the things that I don't think it's emphasized enough, is like, is this actually healthy? It's easy to focus on foods being healthy, right? Like, oh, I'm eating so healthy because I'm eating sweet potatoes and I'm eating chicken. But if you're not eating enough calories to like live on, are you really healthy? If working out is healthy, right? Working out is healthy. But if you cannot take a rest day because you feel insecure in yourself that you're going to gain weight if you take a rest day, that's not healthy, right? Like, there's things that are not healthy. Vice versa. If you're eating, if it fits your macros and you're just tracking your food and eating your calories and you're not eating healthy, like, is that really healthy that you're literally eating based off of what an app tells you that you deserve to eat? Like, that's not healthy either. Like, you have to realize that healthy is going to get you, if you are, I truly believe healthy is a feeling. Like, it's where you're like, everything in my life just feels like it's in alignment. Am I saying that every day is going to feel like that? No, girl, you're going to have days where like life is life, right? But healthy is knowing how to allow your body to regulate in those situations, and not reaching for food, right? Or not telling yourself you can't do anything in the gym because you don't feel good. It's like, I can lower my expectations because I know that I need this for my mental health. But what if the changes you were making, yes, they did create the goals you have for yourself aesthetically, but they also made you healthier? Again, going into it like extreme diets. Is going on a carnivore diet really going to make you healthier? It might help you lose weight quickly, but is it going to make you healthier? Is slashing your calories drastically going to make you healthier? Or is it just going to change the scale? Like, you have to shift from being somebody that's always chasing the scale into being somebody that's chasing like your best self, because the body composition is not going to last if you're not. In fact, I think that that's why it has been so easy for me to maintain my body composition, because I do focus on overall health. Am I saying that I'm perfect? No. I got a whole bunch of stuff that I can fill y'all in on that I'm going to be talking about on a completely different series that I'm starting on my Instagram channel. So, or on my YouTube channel. I have not actually ever built up my YouTube channel, but that's what I'm going to use it for first. So I want you guys to be looking at what you're doing. Yes, that you're trying to improve your body composition, but it's coming from a place of like, I'm not healthy. In fact, women dealing with hormone issues, like, changing your body composition might make you healthier. Building muscle, losing body fat is going to be better for your hormones. I promise you. Body fat is probably one of the things that has the biggest impact on your hormones, even though people will like make you think that diet does. And muscle keeps your body very insulin sensitive. So build that muscle and get lean, ladies, to be able to regulate that stuff. But we're going to talk about that a little bit differently. Second thing I wrote down is that I hate that we have normalized living completely disconnected from ourselves. Like everything we do is so forced. And this is myself included, like very, 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 very like routine, like everything has to be done, done, done. And nothing, and it becomes where you don't, you don't even remember what it is like to just be a kid and like just make decisions because you feel good. Like, am I saying that you can do that in your adult life all of the time? No, you obviously need to make a living. You have to do things to make money. You have to take care of your kids. You have responsibilities, but it's also knowing like, okay, where is that showing up in your food, like in your nutrition and your training? And where do you feel like you're just so disconnected from yourself? Like, yes, I teach intentional and intuitive eating together. Like that is my goal with my clients. This is not just a, oh, hit these macros or, oh, like it's also not just eat whatever you want. It's we need to, or eat super healthy. We need to find that intentional intuition, right? When you are in a deficit for fat loss, you're intentionally underfeeding yourself. You are going to be hungry, right? So we need to be intentional in that phase to get us to where we want to be. And a great analogy for this is like if you're a CrossFitter and you're on the Echo bike and we can go for 30 minutes easy, right? Or I can say, all right, every minute I want you to sprint for the first 10 seconds. That's a choice you've made to increase the effort based on what you want to get out of the experience, right? So it's the same thing with your nutrition journey. When you are in a fat loss phase, you are being intentional about making it a little bit harder for yourself. And that's because you have a specific goal. That goal is short, right? The goal of manipulating calorie intake is short, all right? So I just want you guys to realize that it's so important to get back to intuition. Examples of this that I wrote down are things like ignoring hunger. I can't tell you how many women I know that are like, I just ate breakfast. Why am I hungry again? I don't know. Maybe your breakfast wasn't big enough. Maybe your body's still hungry. Maybe you didn't eat enough. Like maybe you're just hungry. Maybe that's all it is. Like it's like ignore it. Now again, I get it. In a fat loss phase, we should be being intentional, but this is where it's like we have to look back. And with my clients, I am looking at things like, okay, what was the volume on her plate? Did she actually have a meal, or was it just a bowl of lettuce? But also like how many calories were in it? Was it a 200 calorie meal because she was saving calories for later on? That's another thing, always saving calories. Like you start to eat by numbers, and now it's like, okay, I have this many calories to eat throughout the day, but I don't want to be, I don't want to miss out on dinner. So I'm going to hold back all day so that I can get this big dinner in. Like that's not being intuitive. Your body needs food earlier in the day. And if you want to actually be able to sustain this, you have to work with your body, not against it. Okay. So that's important. A big one with a lot of CrossFitters is just ignoring the fatigue you're feeling and pushing through at the gym. And I've experienced this myself. In fact, I'm realizing right now how resilient my body is and how much I have pushed through and didn't even realize it, and really giving myself an opportunity. And I will be sharing more about this, to be able to feel the pain that I have honestly just been like, oh, it's no big deal. It's no big deal, because it wasn't a big deal. But as I'm sitting here doing this podcast, angry at myself because I have a freaking heating pad on my knee and a ball under my ass because my entire leg is sore for no apparent reason. It's like, yeah, it's okay to rest a little bit and give my body rest. So just pushing through things. And I think that this is hard because when you do see the gym and you see nutrition as part of your identity, in essence, that can also be something like it's something you do every day. It's your outlet or whatever. So, but yeah, we've just become so disconnected from ourselves, even having to like earn your rest or earning your food, right? Like this is a big one. I've been good all week so that I can have a cheat meal on the weekend. Like, why can't you just have pizza on a Tuesday? Why do you have to wait until Saturday? Like, again, this is like the intentional intuitive eating that I think is so important for you in all phases. And it's why I don't like my clients to be super, super rigid in their fat loss phase. I would rather it happen somewhat naturally, and it is a little bit slower that way. But guess what? It really isn't slower that way because reversing into maintenance is a lot faster when you don't make big changes. And yeah, surely you can do this like short 12-week cut, but that usually makes it very hard to reverse out of it naturally. Whereas if you do things in a way where it's like pretty natural, okay, it doesn't need to be this drastic switch. So it doesn't take so long. So it's kind of just like removing the training wheels. So that's number 2 that I wrote down. Why don't I write down number 3 and then I'll look at my notes. I wrote here, some of the most unhealthy people can have the best body image. So it doesn't matter what you think, they are experiencing life differently than you. Okay. And why I wrote this down, because I said this topic is really about body image. All right. So if you are somebody who you really want to feel better about your body, and you know that you're going to feel better about yourself if you lose 20 pounds. Okay. I agree that we all are going to show up way more confident in life when we actually feel good about what we're doing. But I also want to normalize the fact that other people that don't have good body composition may actually have really good body image. Like I know I've seen women that will show up at a grocery store rocking the clothes, and you're like, they just have the confidence. They don't care about their size. They're not caring about any of that stuff. They're just proud of their body. They don't care. And you would look at them like, dang, she just got the confidence. And there is something to be said about, it's not how you look that builds confidence. It's truly how you feel about yourself. And I say this because somebody can look amazing, right? And you see a lot of this on social media now. They can look amazing, but you don't know how they feel and how unhealthy they might be underneath it all. You see this image of them and it looks so cool, but you don't know what they are experiencing. And you think that like, God, I just want to have that body. And yeah, you start to chase it and you're like, this is hard. And I don't want to be this restricted. And I don't want to work out this much. And I got shit to do on the weekends. I don't want to be, freaking doing all that stuff. Like I want to do other things. Like it's really easy to look at somebody's body and be like, I want that. But do you really want what they have? Because you don't know what they're feeling and what they're experiencing maybe even on a health level. Maybe they're not very healthy. In fact, some of the leanest people are very, very, very unhealthy. I mean, I will be honest, when I was going through all of my health stuff a few months ago, like every person that I talked to about everything was somebody like, quote unquote, like in the bodybuilding community or from the bodybuilding community, or was a functional practitioner that worked with people in the bodybuilding community. Why do I think that is? Because they get so lean and that's so unhealthy. And a lot of the stuff that I was dealing with does have to do with being lean. And it wasn't like anything that I was doing necessarily unhealthily, but it does make you unhealthy. Just like too much body fat can make you unhealthy, so can too little and not even realize it. And I think that there is so much to be said about that. So you need to remind yourself that body image, and I know this because I've been overweight, I've been underweight, and it doesn't matter what weight I am, how lean I am, there's always going to be something about yourself that you wish was better, you wish was different. And that's the most important thing. So you have to ask yourself, what are you sacrificing to be this person and get that body composition? Because if you're sacrificing your physical and your mental health for it, it's not healthy. And it's the same thing on the other side. If you're somebody that's walking around with like, you're rocking the best body image, but like you're not healthy, then you might have bigger reasons to change besides that, right? So just something to really think about it with that. So, and I will be talking more about that. I just want to save that for another episode. All right. So here's the next one. This is going to tack on to body image as well. And with that last statement is, I wrote down, and this is probably the hardest question to ask yourself. All right. Who are you doing it for and why are you doing it? Okay. This is not talked about enough. In fact, I had a call with a new client who started up with me this week. And when on our call, when we were talking about her goals, I said, I want to know why this matters to you. Like, why is this going to change your life? What is going to be different if you lose this weight and you feel like you finally are eating enough and you feel good about it, right? Why is this going to change your life? And if you can't answer the question of who you're doing it for and why it matters, you need to start there. Before you jump into anything, you need to start why it matters, because if not, you're going to keep starting things and never finish them. You need to know why it matters to you. So that's probably the most in question. A lot of people are doing it for, it's not about vanity, and it's not truly about like, I care so much about what other people think. Usually there is something or someone that has made you feel unworthy of being you at your weight, or you're in a situation where you don't feel like you fit in because of your size or the way you look, or you see things and you want to look more like them. Now, all of those can be great motivating factors. I'm not saying that's not that you're being bad if you have those as motivating factors. It's just knowing, okay, but is this for me to be that person that I want to be, or is it for them? And here's an example. Okay, so I'm going to use myself as an example. Growing up as a kid, I always wanted to be an athlete. I wanted to be an athlete. I was like Sporty Spice. I was me. That was me. I was like, I want to be Sporty Spice. I wanted to be I wanted to be a ninja. Like, I wanted to do all of the things athletic. I was an athlete. I played soccer. I wanted to get into, I always wanted to have like fitness in my life of some type, sports. I wanted to be an athlete. And I specifically wanted to be like an individual athlete. Like I wanted to do like taekwondo or gymnastics. I just like wanted to do that stuff. In fact, I even had thought as a kid, I would at some point be like a body double in like movies, and like I could be a stunt double and do like the cool stunts. Like, I wanted to do that shit as a kid. And I've always liked athletic women. Like, athletic bodies have always been something that I wanted. So as an adult, like, I do think I'm living in alignment with who I wanted to be as a kid. And that's doing it for me. And like, I'm not going to fit in at every table, but that's okay. And I'm happy for once in my life. I'm actually happy with that. Again, we'll talk more about this because I've been going through some cool stuff over the last couple of weeks. And for once in my life, I'm like, okay with wanting to be the fit person. I mean, again, going back to being at my brother's house, I don't even give myself credit for how hard I work. And, being there and being around everybody else, and none of them work out, and meeting new people. And I don't think people look at me differently than anybody else. But then you get people asking me questions like, do you work out? And I know they're saying that because I look like I work out, but they're like, well, what do you do? Like, they're asking me questions. And I'm like, they used to like bother me. And now I'm like, no, Cheryl, like, that's what you wanted. Like, you wanted to be able to be an athlete and to inspire people to do things differently. Like, I want people to look at me like, well, can you help me? Like, yeah, I can help you because I've been living this life for a long time. That's what I wanted from the start. That's what I wanted from being a kid. And I'm getting emotional about this right now because, again, like, I just don't think I ever thought that was okay to want to do that. And if that's you, you can have that too. Like, you can totally want to improve your body because you want to be the person that you want to be. Like, you don't want to be that, and your body is part of it. But for me, I like training. I like working out. I like pushing myself. I don't go into the gym with the purpose of like, oh, is this going to change my body? Like, if it is, I need to build muscle because I need to get stronger, right? Like, I want to be stronger. So it's really important though to know a couple of questions that I wrote down, because I did go on a little bit of a tangent there, was, okay, this is not about who you're trying to impress or who you're trying to get back at. If you're doing this to like get back at somebody, to prove somebody wrong, it's not the right thing, because you don't need to prove yourself to anybody. You don't. You need to do this for you. It has to be about you, your change, and making yourself a better person. Okay. Things I wrote down to add on to this was, who is benefiting from you changing? You have to be the one benefiting from it. Who is getting your energy? And who decides whether you're enough? All of those questions need to come from you. You can't expect other people to be what gives you validation. So, like going back into that situation on Saturday, those people that I was talking to did not validate my decisions over the last 5, 10, 15 years. It was just the reminder for me that I'm enough. And like like all the insecurities I've had, like it's okay to be okay, like saying, yeah, this is me. This is my life. This is what I like to do. So thank you for acknowledging my hard work. But it doesn't make me feel like now those are the standards. I'm setting those standards for them. It was just nice to be complimented on something that I value. All right. Next thing I wrote down, and it's the last kind of main thing here is, all right. So I wrote down, this needs to come from a place of self-care. Okay. Is this coming from a place of self-care or a place of self-control and, self-punishment? So like self-care, self-respect versus like self-control and self-punishment. So a lot of women specifically, I guess I will say, I guess men deal with this too. I don't give men enough credit for their struggles. I don't. I'm sorry, guys. If you struggle with this shit too, please share. But when I say this, I mean, so when it's coming from a place of self-care and self-respect, if Saturday night, I'm like, whoa, I kind of had a couple s'mores, I had a couple of drinks, I had some barbecue, and I'm like, man, I'm just like looking forward to eggs in the morning and some sourdough and some kiwi, right? Like, I don't need to go out for breakfast and have pancakes and shit. I feel kind of a little bit like I overdid it last night. That food just doesn't sound good to me. So I'm just back into routine. It's not, oh, I have to like eat egg whites instead. And I got to skip a meal and I got to do all this stuff to make up for the fact that I lost control last night. And in that moment of, enjoying the food, it wasn't ever, I'm out of control. I'm just making decisions to eat this food. And that's all it is, So I think it's really important to look at things differently in terms of what you're doing and what you're changing. So, like for instance, so self-respect is like, I'm choosing to add vegetables to my plate versus like, like I have to do this. I have to add vegetables to my plate, like that's a perfect example, right? Like it's important to remind yourself that this is a choice to take care of yourself. It should not come from a place of punishment, because when it comes from a place of, I have to do this to get to a place where I'm good enough or, make up for my, mistakes or whatever, like now it's just becoming something that you resent. You'll never enjoy the process, and that's really, really important. In fact, I think even in a lot of times in fitness, this shows up. A lot of people feel like they have to work out in order for them to be able to enjoy themselves. A lot of people only focus on their nutrition when they are working out. Like they have to go hand in hand. Like it's not really about that. Your body doesn't keep score that way. You do, but your body doesn't. Your body is just adapting to what you're doing every single day, every single week, every single month, every single year. And it's changing and adapting to those things all of the time. And, like at the end of the day, like, do you want to focus so much on your weight, or do you want to focus on building a body that you can maintain forever, that's going to carry you through life and you don't have to stress about the scale? Like when you see somebody and you see their body, are you like, damn, that girl looks good. How much does she weigh? No, you're like, how did she get that body? Right? Like, what is she doing? What is she living like? How is she doing? Like, that's what you truly want to know. Okay. So, one of the last things I wrote down here, and I'll kind of put my closing thoughts out there, is if your decisions are only driven by your body, then you are committing to a life where you will continue to be consumed by it. So, example is living lean should not require. I get women that come to me and they say, I would love to get leaner, but I just don't know that I can actually maintain it. Why not? Why are you concerned about maintaining it? Like, why is that hard for you? And it's because most women only focus on changing their body through ways that change their body and not looking at it from a health perspective. And that usually comes from being super restrictive with their diet. And it's, I've got to get through this to be able to do what I want to do. And, or they say, okay, I can just keep living this way. You know, if every decision you're making is revolving around your body will continue to control your life. You will continue to go through seasons where, even though you don't think it's controlling your life, it's running like a tab in the back of your head. It's the same thing if you never commit to changing your body. It's this tab in the back of your head that you haven't closed yet. And even though you don't think it's taking up your mental energy, it is. The things that you're doing right now that you know are not serving you or are not getting you results, even though you're afraid to change them, they're actually stealing you from being present, because you're likely doing them to change your body and you're not getting results. And slowly, that's just like, it's just like one more rep in your head, one more day where you're like, I'm doing the work and not getting where I want to be. And it sucks. And you just keep doing the work because it feels productive, right? So that's a main thing. Your decisions have to truly come from honoring yourself, respecting yourself, and honestly knowing that your body image has to be, it's really not even body image. It's the image you have of yourself, that right now you are not looking the way that you know you want to look. And that's because you're not living the way you know you want to live. There are things you are doing in your life right now that are not serving you, whether it's no boundaries, not getting enough sleep, not getting enough food in, training too much, not training enough, not focusing on the things that really matter to help you be the fittest, best version of yourself. And I don't know what that is until we have a conversation. So you have to tell me. It's funny because there's so much irony in this, is that the second you stop trying to fix the problem, like you keep working on the problem, is I've got to lose weight, I've got to do this, and I've got to do that. And instead you focus on taking care of yourself, the transformation happens so much quicker and you feel so much better in the process. So I know that that's really, really important. I think the last thing to write about on all of this, or not write about, talk about on all of this stuff is, and this will be my closing thought for today, is changing your body, improving your body should also not need to become a full-time job. It should not be a full-time job for you to keep working on improving yourself. It should be something that is improving your life, improving the jobs you do throughout the day, and not taking up so much of your mental bandwidth. And this is why I believe in coaching so much, right? It's not so much about being told what to do. It's removing the noise around what you should be focusing on to allow you to have mental space, energy, and time to commit to other areas of your life, to do other things in your life that bring you pleasure, to be able to relieve this need to be perfect all of the time. When you have a coach that truly understands what you value and what you want to make sure, I call them your non-negotiables, are things that you don't change about yourself. Like, you cannot lose yourself in the process of changing your body, or you will continue to live a life where you are not in alignment with who you truly are. You have to have both. You know, and like I said, for me, I like being an athlete. I'm always going to be somebody who likes training. That's what I've wanted my entire life. And I love that. Does that mean that seasons aren't going to change and that I'm going to have to do things differently at times? Absolutely, I'm going to have to do that. But it doesn't change the fact that I can still be proud of myself and the body that I've built, and regardless of the season it's in. So that's a lot I have. I know this is kind of like body image, a little bit about your goals, because my goal for you is that, you know, whether we work together or you just follow my content and you follow my podcast and you get value out of it, it's really about getting you to understand that fat loss is just a temporary part of your life. We should not spend the rest of our lives micromanaging the scale and thinking about our body. It should be about living your life. And that's, and the body change is just meant to help build your confidence, that like you want to see yourself happy in photos and stuff like that. Can you guys tell how uncomfortable I am right now? No, I'm actually rolling on this. If you're watching YouTube, I'll show you, because I'm going to close up now. But this big ass ball, oh my God, I'm rolling on my hamstring as we're talking about all of the things we do. No, funny enough, I've been dealing with this stomach thing for, I don't know, since April. And I've been going through doctors and this and that and so many different things. Like I said, all the functional medicine. I, from day one, have thought there was something going on with my musculature. And I think that there is something going on with my musculature, but I actually think it's related to my spine. And I'm annoyed because I had kind of said this also from being in the hospital. That's why they ended up doing a lumbar and a thoracic MRI. And none of that stuff was addressed because they said, oh, it's not that bad. But I'm like, all of my symptoms are telling me that I think that's a problem. And now I think it's starting to get a little bit worse. So I'm going to stop talking about myself now. I will be starting a second. Oh, I got so many things that I want to start right now. Also, something that I'm focusing on is slowing down. And I have a lot of things that I want to get out, but I'm going to be starting a second group for my clients. You guys are going to have that started probably next week as I'm getting back into my schedule this week. And I am starting a series on my YouTube channel because I have some important updates on my own health journey that I am excited to share, like so excited to share. And I'm going to be documenting some things on there. And I've actually tried committing to YouTube like content for so long and haven't. I'm like, you know what? This is going to be the first thing I commit to. And I was going to do it on Instagram, but I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do it on YouTube because I can do long form content there, which feels more natural to me. So stay tuned for that stuff. And yeah, that's all I got today. I hope that you guys got some value out of this. Let me just see if there's any questions on there. Oh, you know what I did? I forgot to go live on Instagram. How funny is that? That's okay. I thought I was live. I guess I wasn't. So YouTubers didn't get there. Oh, I see some questions here. I'm loving all of this. Larry, I don't know if you're still on here, but Larry, I am 41. Larry, I don't know what your expectations are of yourself. So I will message you because I don't know if when you're saying are my expectations unrealistic because of my age, I would have to know what, and Tabby, I got you. Give me a second, girl. What your expectations are to be able to help you with that. And then Tabby, how often do you think we should weigh ourselves? So this is a great question. It truly depends on what phase you're in. Okay. So for my clients, if you are in a fat loss phase specifically, I would weigh every day, and not because you're looking to micromanage the scale every day. It's about knowing, okay, I want to get a weekly average and see my highs and lows. And I want to use that to address next week and then and kind of compare week to week. Also, if you are a female, I'm assuming you're a female, is your cycle is going to impact the scale. So it's also important for women to look at the scale, not just because of body weight and fat, but also because of your cycle and seeing, okay, that can also give you some inclinations as to what might be going on around hormones. And especially when I have clients that get like reoccurring injuries or just getting like a little bit burned out in the gym, it kind of helps me to help them with assessing what, if anything, they should modify around training in those times. If, we see those spikes on the scale, along with also, let me just be honest, accountability as well. In that, okay, so I have clients, they will try and weigh in only on like Wednesdays. And I don't know why the scale's not going down. And they're like picture perfect tracking Monday through Friday. And then like Saturdays, a little sketch, and Sundays, like they have like 2 meals logged. And I know that's notoriously where somebody's probably not 100% committed on the weekend. And they're having a feeling of like, I don't want to step on the scale on Monday morning and see the damage. I'm going to wait until it goes back down on Wednesday. And while that's fine, if you're trying to maintain, it might not be so fine if you're trying to actually make progress. And then you're putting in work all week and undoing it on the weekend. So you want to make sure that you do weigh yourself more frequently then. Hopefully that makes sense. If you're maintaining, honestly, I do think that once a week is fine, as long as you don't have a lot of variables. And then just trying to find a consistent day of the week to weigh in, like that's important. And again, it should not be to micromanage. It's just kind of like, if you've ever gained weight in your life or lost weight in your life, you have to remind yourself that there's always going to be a little bit of intentionally, you have to be a little bit intentional about monitoring things, because intuitively your old self is likely still hard to, like, it could easily creep back in. So that the habits creep back in, that just kind of holds you accountable to like when things might be getting a little bit, and I don't think it's obsessive, because it actually stops you from being obsessive with things on a daily basis. If you're like, okay, I'm weighing in once a week, I can be a little bit more flexible with my food and see how things change. So you can always pull things back in. Hopefully that makes sense. Who else is watching me roll out a little bit on my freaking ball right now? Because this is, brutal. Anybody else have any other questions while I'm still on here? Since I forget to go live on Instagram, I'll have to pop this on live later on and you guys can watch the replay. You know what? Maybe I just won't. Maybe I just won't go live on Instagram. All right, well, then I'm going to hop off. If you guys have anything else to add, or you guys have any other questions, I'll just respond to those questions in my comments, and hopefully you guys will be able to see them. I don't know if you're watching on the Clydesdale or if you're watching on my channel, so I'll be able to see if I can help y'all out. So any other thoughts before I close up? I see some people watching. Do you guys have anything else to add? Don't be afraid to talk while you have a coach here who cares about you. I'm here to answer questions. I know if you guys are just hopping on, you missed a long topic about body image, chasing the scale, and honestly just learning how to live a healthy, fit life and be proud of your fucking body. But if you guys have things that you would like to know, nutrition related, training related, and you're on here, let me know, please, because I'm going to sign off in a few minutes. But I would love for somebody to comment if you have anything. I don't know why it's so scary to talk to me. Do I intimidate you guys? I'm very curious about that. Hopefully not. I mean, I hope I'm a little bit scary, because I got to scare you guys into making change, but I am probably the most least intimidating person you'll ever meet. All right. Well, then y'all aren't going to ask me any questions. And I know that the second I say that, I'm going to have 5 questions pop up. So I'm going to type at Tabby. I'll make sure you get your questions answered. Tabby, do you at people on YouTube? I don't even know this. I got to get better. I'll make sure I comment afterwards. I got to see where you guys are posting from. You know what I will do? I will go ahead, and if you guys did find any value in this episode and you want to talk to me about your own journey and you have been struggling to try and figure out the balance between like, all right, I have these body composition goals, but like I want to live my life and actually like be proud. I'm going to drop the link for my Clarity Call application. It's super basic. I don't ask a lot of questions there. And you guys can go ahead and pop there or pop your questions there, or fill that out there for me. And then we can set up a call. It's Monday morning and I'm like already messing up my words. Although I did have an amazing night of sleep last night, like 9.5 hours, I think. I woke up at 4:30 and I'm like, I think I can fall back asleep. And I did. I fell asleep for an hour and 9:36. And let me see how many times I woke up last night, because it felt like I slept through the night, and I might not have. Really good REM sleep, really good everything. Oh man, such a good night of sleep. Let me see how many times I woke up. Low sleep stress, doesn't even tell me. Oh, I did wake up 11 times, but I think I just wake up and I'm like a pancake at night. I literally just flip flop. But anyways, I'm going to shut up because I'm just rambling at this point and you guys are tired listening to me. So I will talk to y'all soon. If you guys have any questions, obviously always send them my way. There is, again, I put that in the show notes and as well as in the comments. And I will talk to y'all soon. Bye.